Hi, everyone. It's Paul Ward here, and welcome to another 15 minutes. I'm very excited today. We're speaking with Deanna Good, a mobile notary. Deanna, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And let's jump right in. For folks who do not know, what is a notary and why is that important?
Okay, so I am commissioned by the state, and
Okay.
a notary is someone who comes or you come before them, and I identify you, verify that you are who you say you are, and notarize your documents. It could be for trusts or real estate or powers of attorney.
Okay.
And so,
What is notarizing documents? What does that mean?
so it's verifying that you came before me and that I identified you with a valid identification, whether it's a driver's license or a passport, and that you either signed before me or you swore and affirmed before me that the information is true and correct. And then I give my seal of approval that it is valid.
Okay. And I have had documents notarized, but for folks that have not, there is the thumbprint.
Yes.
When
So,
does that come into play?
and I should take back too that I say that it is valid, because I can notarize a document that you may say is true. I don't even know if it's true. You know what I mean? I'm just verifying that you are who you say you are.
Gotcha.
And that I'm witnessing you signing it in front of me, or you swore and affirmed the information was true, but
Okay.
it may not be.
Right.
That's on you. And yes, so in the state of California, for every for real estate and powers of attorney, you're required to give a right thumbprint. I
Gotcha.
personally make it a habit to have a right thumbprint for everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is a real estate show. So when folks are signing loan documentation, right, you would come to their place of work or their house and have certain documents notarized, but not other documents.
Right. So for a purchase transaction, I'm going to receive the documents from title, and I'm going to either schedule with you to meet in the title office or the comfort of your home or your office or a local Starbucks.
Mm-hmm.
I have a home office. People come here too sometimes. And I'm bringing all the loan documents. So it's going to be the escrow documents, the lender documents, and there are going to be, it depends on the lender. Some lenders only require 4 notarizations, some require 20. It just depends. So we're notarizing affidavits, owner's affidavit, signature affidavit, buyer's affidavit, and then we're notarizing all the secure documents, your deed of trust, or maybe a grant deed.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the types of things. Yeah.
Okay. I have had clients who have tried to, save a little bit of money or maybe thinking they're saving time by going to the local, mail house or, UPS store, only to have the escrow kick those documents back saying the seal was not quite legible and that the county recorder was going to reject that. Have you ever heard of that happening?
Yes, definitely. I personally have not had that happen. So, but I've taken the time to go through training. I study a guy, not to plug another business, but I study under a guy named Mark Wills. He has the loan signing system, and he has taught me everything I know. He's taught me to be an A+ notary. So you're double checking, making sure your signatures stay consistent. I'm making sure my stamp is completely legible. If it's not, you re-stamp it. You don't send it off to the county recorder like that. But I'm Fidelity approved. So you have to be in the field for a minimum of 2 years. And then you start working with Fidelity Title, and you get an escrow officer to sponsor you. And that's not an easy feat. You don't just walk right into loan signing documents and start notarizing them. You need to educate yourself. You know, I'm not in the legal industry. I don't give any kind of legal advice. I try to do a impartial signing, but an educated one. You know, I want to be able to, I'm not shoving docs in front of your face and saying sign here. I'm trying to explain what they are in layman's terms, right?
Sure.
And then if you have other questions that are above my capacity, then that's when we reach out to the loan officer or the escrow officer.
Sure.
But
And
yeah, you don't, this is a large investment, right?
Right.
Or very important documents like a trust package, your power of attorney, your advance directive, your living trust. I personally don't feel that you want to just go let any any notary that's not fidelity approved or not educated, not certified in other areas to put their stamp on that. And that's many times things can happen, and that's how you can go to court over it. It can be, you know, or it'll be kicked back from the county recorder. And
well, it just seems that that's kind of sloppy, you know. Maybe somebody thought that, you know, being a notary was easy, or they were just going to add this to their kind of their business portfolio. So if folks came into the, you know, quote unquote local mail store, this is just kind of a side service, but it's not really their main thing.
No, you want to hire someone like me and you're going to get quality notary work. You know, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I definitely take the time to educate myself. You know, I'm not, you definitely want to hire. I mean, if you're doing just like some small, oh, my son needs to go over here and I need someone to notarize so he can go with that person to ride in a rodeo, go to UPS. But
then it's okay.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a recorded document.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. Now you're a mobile notary. You travel.
Yes. Yeah, so I travel all over. So not just Ventura County, Santa Barbara County, Los Angeles.
Oh, wow.
And I have a mobile office set up in my car for when you travel to Beverly Hills and I'm doing a signing and I realize the grant deed has the name spelled wrong. Reach title, they can email me a new one and I can print it right out right then and there and fix it and notarize it and off we go.
Gotcha. And so you have to drive to the escrow office to get all of the documentation. Then you have to drive to wherever the client is, right? Yeah. So, and then you've got to take all the documents back.
Yes, essentially. That's one way of doing it. The other way is I get them emailed to me or through a portal. And then I download and print them. Like right now I'm working on a packet.
Okay.
And I'm going to drive to Santa Barbara later. So this one, they sent it to me. I print it out. I print a copy for them, for me, and one for me to have notarized. And
but the sign papers have to physically go back. You can't just scan them and send them back. You have to physically take them back.
Yeah, it's many different ways, but there are people that require me to scan them back and then take them and drop them at FedEx or UPS, or I go direct to title. But when you scan them, it's going to a secured portal. They're not just being, shipped off via email or anything. And then when you drop them, it's super important to hand them over to someone and get a receipt. I'm not just dropping in a box. I'm not just throwing on the counter and walking out. I'm making sure that I'm keeping track of these documents because they have your important information on them.
Sure.
So it's secured all the way. I mean, from the time I print, they're in my hands, to being locked in my car, to going to a signing, to dropping them. They're always in my possession. And that's one thing that's required by law for a notary. You're not allowed to pass them off to someone else to go drop off, to ship or whatever. They have to stay in your possession.
Sure. Now, is there notary school? I mean, how does one become a notary?
Okay, so yes.
I mean, nobody grows up to say, I want to be a notary. And
it's so easy. In fact, I have a whole printout that I email to people all the time because I'm forever being asked. And I just love this career. Like, it's amazing. I sat behind a desk for 30 years. So to get to be able to go out and do whatever I want, when I want, which is really what essentially you pick your own hours. But that's not to say you don't work hard. You do. Like with any entrepreneur, but You can get your notary commission through, there's a new company that happens to be some colleagues of mine. It's called My Notary Academy, or you can go through the National Notary Association, and you can do it online or do a one-day course. Basically, they teach you everything you need to know to pass the exam. And then you go before a state proctor and take the exam. And
Okay.
that's how you know.
And what agency oversees notaries?
Secretary of State.
Okay.
So then you have to do a background check with the Secretary of State, and there's other things that you have to do. You purchase you get bonded, insured, you purchase errors and omission insurance, and there's other things that go with it, but it's actually fairly simple.
Right. But the work itself is demanding.
Yes.
Passing the test might be easy, but the work itself is demanding.
And it's so simple that anybody and everybody can do it, but that doesn't mean they should do it. Right. You need to know your notary laws. So I study, and then it's not just having a notary commission. You also need to become loan signing agent certified. That's another course. You can take that through the NNA as well. Or like my friend, Mark Wills, he owns the loan signing system. I was in the field 2.5 years. I thought I knew everything I needed to know until I met him and realized, wow, I didn't know nearly what I needed to know. And he taught me so much. So I study under him, and then Laura Testadri and Kimberly Sennett, they own the My Notary Academy. So Mark teaches you loan signing, and Kim and Laura teach you your notary laws for your state, which is very important. It's two different things, but you need to know both. You need to stay on top of both.
What's a good time for a purchaser who's, let's say, buying a house? What's a good time for the notary to come versus, or when you typically go to the house or to the place of business during the transaction?
Okay, so towards the very end, like they're just sailing on into home. Right. So if it's your primary residence, usually you're going to get, I'm going to get the documents about 4 days prior to them closing. So say they're going to close this Friday. So I would get the documents today. I would go sign with them today, and then they'll have 3 days right to rescind. And then after that, they would close the next day. They would fund the next day and close and record the following day. But, it all depends on what day of the week.
Sure. And you'll get those documents based on when the lender approved that loan.
Right. Exactly. When they have final approval. Exactly.
Gotcha. What's the most important thing, do you think, for folks to know about the notary process?
Well, I think they need to be informed of what their loan details are. They need to not wait for the notary to come and then want to read through everything. You should be in full understanding of what you're about to sign before I arrive. So it's very important to read all those emails that you get sent, all the DocuSigns that you're DocuSigning. A lot of times, 9 out of 10, they're just signing. This is a huge purchase. They're just trusting someone and signing. And then when I get there, then they want to know answers. Well, I'm the notary. I'm here to verify you are who you say you are and present the documents to you. I'm not the lender. I'm not the loan officer. I didn't get privy to the details till I printed the docs or picked them up. Right. So educate yourself on what you're about to sign. Take the time to ask the questions. Your loan officer, exactly what your lender details are, your lender rate, it's important.
That's great advice. I mean, you have your role. Everybody has their role.
Right. And also make sure it's held in title the way you want it. Do you want it to be your full name, including your middle name, your middle initial? Do you want to have the junior, the senior, the third? Right. And make sure it's spelled correctly. You're getting these documents DocuSigned to you. I'll show up to house and they'll go, oh yeah, no, that's wrong. And I've been telling them, and it's like, well, you just DocuSigned you. So it's important to make sure all the little details, because it's how it's held in, like you say you're refinancing and you got married and so when I go to sign, they never let them know that they got married. Their new ID is their married name, but the trust or it was held in title in their maiden name. So I get there and everything's all in the maiden name, but they're married now. These are things that are very important. You need to let them know.
And that causes a delay.
It does. It does.
It's all got to be redone.
And it's a simple fix. It really is.
Yeah.
So,
but, there's a lot of players in a transaction, and something so simple can lead to some, another escrow that's all interconnected.
Yep.
Being delayed.
Exactly. Yeah. Especially when you're buying and selling all at the same time. Absolutely.
Right. And the other family has no, control over this particular situation. And then they've got the moving truck just kind of waiting. And in the meantime, you're adding your middle initial.
Yeah. Yeah. You want this to be as seamless and smooth as possible. Yep. And to me, you had mentioned to me about in-person notarization versus online, which I think both are good. California hasn't gone remote online notarization yet. A lot of states have, and I think that's a good thing. But I think there's something to say about going before a person and personally being in front of them, smiling, making them comfortable. I mean, a lot of times someone's purchasing for the first time, they don't know what they're doing. They need to be guided through the process, right? Well, it's hard to do via a computer. I mean, we've gotten so used to it in the last couple of years because of COVID, but there's something to say about being in person and having that vibe, Absolutely. And I'm like extremely social. So, I mean, I just love meeting with people and, I mean, you get it on the computer too, but it's nice to be in person.
Absolutely. I fully agree with that. Yep.
And handing them their set of documents and being able to tell them which ones are the important ones. Put that on top. You need to keep that, or you're going to need this in a future date. So keep it, Whereas if you're emailing and then they have the PDF, they don't have it to print out, or, or don't have a printer to print it. So, yeah.
And if they're doing it online, it might just lead to more questions or delays or mistakes, or,
It can. I mean, that's my personal opinion.
Right. Well, Deanna Good, thank you so much. This has been a pleasure. And
thank you.
I'm sure our folks out there watching and listening learned a little bit more about Notary and what it's all about and why it's so integral to the real estate process. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks so much. I enjoyed this.
Absolutely. Bye.
Bye.